Hello. This is episode. Fuck.
That's why I did not do the intro, because I knew if I let you do it, you would not know what episode we were on.
I never know what episode.
Oh my god, it's perfect.
We have a website we could go to, and I'd never know.
I kind of know which episode it is.
I definitely know, but does Ronald?
We are 9/10 of the way to our 70th episode.
Oh man, that's still.
That's a lot of math.
Yeah.
It's a lot of math to be doing on the spot.
It is. Hold on. Nope.
It's not suspenseful to anyone listening because it's right there on the tag for the
You've already
episode.
selected
63.
it.
63. That's right.
You did it.
Oh yeah, we're 63 in. I'm happy at this point.
You're satisfied.
This marks the point where you got happy. Everything prior, you could really hear it in your voice. It wasn't happiness yet.
I hope you enjoyed that multicultural picture that we put for episode 63.
62.
62. Fuck. 62.
You know,
Epic reunion episode.
A more professional show might say, let's discard this opening and start over, but I don't think we need to do that.
This is the charm that we provide.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I think that loosey-goosey vibe is...
It's very casual. We're not chopping this up.
Nope.
You get it as it comes out.
The hell is the point of that?
What?
Chopping it up, right? We just let's give it to
They're
him.
raw.
Mhm.
Give it. Okay.
So yeah, episode 63.
Episode
A
63.
big weekend last week. Big Oscar weekend. A very long Oscar ceremony.
And we're sort of like on the tail end of the Oscar recapping commentary controversy. So we can actually take kind of the long view at some of the stories that played out over the week after the ceremonies.
People
on
very
Sunday.
mad at Seth MacFarlane's boob sort of bit.
yeah, it seems.
I mean, like, I do get it though. Like, I think that Seth.
I think he did
Prize
exactly what they paid him to do.
Right.
And supposedly in terms of ratings, in terms of demographics, it's what they wanted.
Oh,
He's no
totally.
Ricky Gervais. I mean, like,
Even Ricky Gervais, though, when he was up there doing his kind of controversial material, it's these kind of set-up punchline, kind of easy shot humor. You know, it's not. It's like it's funny to see someone kind of puncturing those bubbles when everyone's acting so grand.
Yeah.
But it's like that still kind of stops when it's time to honor the person. You know, and I think that was the other thing this year is there was a little bit of weirdness with like
the 007 tribute.
Well, the 007. Well, like, but you were getting ready to say something. What were your thoughts on the boob song? I think we were.
So at first, I think
I love that that's a serious question.
sometimes like humor's a weird thing. Sometimes you have to sit with it. Sometimes like you don't realize the gravity of some of that stuff. And like I don't know. As much as I like to joke about certain things, I think that sometimes it's a bad forum to do certain things. It would have been great for an episode of Family Guy.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like it wasn't necessarily.
Which means I wouldn't have watched it, so I would have been just fine with it.
And also, by the way, man, it was so white, man. I just think that there are other people that do things like, I don't know, man. Like, it just.
He could have at least listed some black actresses that had taken their tops off, right?
Some, besides Halle Berry.
My feeling on that,
Halle
before we
Berry.
completely leave the subject of the musical section of I thought that opening was way too long.
Way too long.
I thought it was way too much about Seth and his material and much less about the movies and the honorees as it has been in the past. Like, even though Billy Crystal's shtick is kind of corny, at least they sort of tie in all the movies.
I kind of like that shtick.
Well, see,
I just does tie it in.
Well,
I mean,
you mean Billy Crystal?
Yes,
Okay,
Billy
yeah,
Crystal.
Billy
like,
Crystal,
right. And it's
yeah.
almost like it's there to be corny. I mean, and it's like it's not. It's kind of a corny show, but without even saying who is the best host or whatever, because it's kind of a thankless position, except for a few people. But to me, what I thought was sort of just a comedic sin that he committed was that the joke really you could have gotten in 15 seconds or 20 seconds of that song.
Yeah.
Instead of a full 3-minute number.
Yeah.
I feel, and even though the actresses that they cut to seemed to be kind of in on it because they obviously had to pre-tape some kind of reactions or whatever, it still felt sort of like, are we really slowing down the Oscars? Within 5 minutes of the show starting, we're now spending 2 or 3 minutes on like sort of frat boy kind of toilet humor, even for someone who doesn't think that much about like the sacredness of the Oscars. I thought that was a strange way to kind of kick off the show, but it didn't really surprise. Like, I don't think he said or did any individual things that were really that shocking if you know his humor.
I mean, I can't. Yeah, I would agree with everything you said. I don't think there's anything unexpected from what happened on Sunday night. I think that, like you mentioned, they hired him for a reason. He went after a certain demo. He had a huge movie this year. He's always had a huge TV show or pair of TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a relevant person that would allow them to tap into a challenging viewer. And I mean, that's what they wanted with him, and that's what they got. Now, whether or not he takes it a little too far, or maybe he goes about it in a way that's questionable, like with the song or whatever. I mean, for the most part, I would say I was okay with his hosting duties. But if you remember, like when we talked about Ted, I'm not really a fan of his humor to begin with.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay with Family Guy. Like I'll catch it if it's on TV or like a friend's watching it or whatever, and I get some of the references.
I laugh pretty hard at like every 15th joke on that show or something. Like there'll be one joke that just hits the bullseye for me.
Exactly.
But it's like usually it's the silly, absurd kind of character-based stuff that hits for me, not the kind of mean-spirited sort of just, you know, like so often they seem to have carved out their niche just by going further and saying harsher things about specific people than anybody else will do.
And it's rapid fire.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is. That's like his thing. Like it just keeps coming, which I think you could see on the Oscars. Like I think it just didn't know when to either like you like pump it and say that's enough of it. You get the point of it. I don't need to like divulge any more into this. Like the song, like was way too long. The whole William Shatner thing was kind of funny at the beginning, but it was like okay, there's like three different headlines we see. Like and it's what are they doing? They're slowly getting better with each thing he does. Like
once you realized that
right.
was going to be like a boop boop. Once you realized they were going to go around and do that again and then again, it really did seem like that was just
and it was all about
sloppy
and
writing.
It was all about him, which I think. There's a difference between being all about him and showcasing his talents while paying homage or, you know, giving attention to the movies that are nominated. And there really wasn't anything to give acknowledgement to those movies. I mean, some of the actresses, you know, but not in the movies that they were nominated for this year.
Right.
You know, the boob song, like it's like talk about everything you could, you know, they probably got together and let's pick all the hottest women and like none of them were this year. You know what I mean?
Did you catch many of the stories pointing out that like more than half of the nude scenes referenced were some kind of sexual assault or rape scene?
Yes.
And again, that's just where maybe what you were talking about, Ronald. That's where that whole thing about like how is he focusing his like if you're going to be this kind of comedian who's irreverent and takes on sacred cows, is this really isn't it the sort of like the ultimate boys club sort of establishment move is to come out in that zone? Because I mean, it's like on this podcast we're not afraid to talk about a hot actress here or there, but I like to think
or
that
a hot man.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. We're admirers of Brad Pitt in this room. Yes. But now the thing is, Ronald got quiet.
I love Brad Pitt.
Okay, I just want to make sure you're in the
club.
You
made him uncomfortable because you're like, wait, I'm competing with you guys about this.
Right?
Yeah, it's turned into a competition right now.
But so I mean, to me, I'm not. It's not my knee-jerk response to say that any of that comedy is like misogynist. There's some pretty harsh things being said about that, which I feel like maybe is taking it a little too seriously. But I think it's more just sloppy. I think that when they were making that list, they didn't think about the implications of mentioning the accused for Jodie Foster. It's like the fact that you could maybe get this joke across and not leave as poor a taste in people's mouth if you just kind of knew where to draw the line. But again, I'm not one to. I hate the idea of censoring a comedian or someone not being able to make whatever joke they want to make. So it's like,
I don't know. I think I know why I don't like Seth MacFarlane in general. Like, so he prides himself in this sort of weird, like, I'm saying what everybody's thinking, but it's a more extreme thing.
Right.
The problem is he's not a person
at all.
That he's not a person I would necessarily like doubt that he would say that anyway. Like the position is weird. Like it's like if the king of the castle was like, these people are peasants and they fucking stink. I wouldn't be surprised because he doesn't strike me as a person that ever didn't. Like there was never a point in his life where he never could express himself in those ways, and it's good.
I do see what you're saying. It's all about like what target and like what your point of view is.
It's like why that's why I like people like Patton Oswalt. Like something about Patton, like I like his honesty, but like it comes from a different place. It comes from more observational, less just mean spirited, and the mean spirited thing that he does, like inappropriate joke of the night was the John Wilkes Booth joke about being inside of his brain,
about really getting inside Lincoln's head. Yeah,
what was that? That's Family Guy.
What's funny is that you've actually got people saying too soon in a semi-serious way about a Lincoln joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just sort of like the haphazard quality of using your comedy in that way. It's like there's really not a point to making an offensive joke about Lincoln.
Yeah.
There's no reason. No one wants. You don't need to take Lincoln down a peg.
Yeah.
It's like comedy's sort
Sure.
of designed when it's best used in that way. It's to sort of take down the establishment or take down whoever's in power or burst the bubble of whoever's in power.
Sure.
To start off that ceremony with something that sort of puts them in their place and says, "Hey, remember, ladies, all we really want to see is your tits." Whether that's what he was really saying or not, that was the sort of effect it had.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, it did.
And it's
it
like
did.
to me that feels very retro and kind of like I'm glad I'm not part of the demographic that drew to the show.
Yeah,
I know those guys though.
He stumbled that place that you're talking about when you stumble on that joke is something that good comedians like Louis C.K. kind of. It's a rare thing to come to that place where you're like, well, that kid is a fucking asshole. That's not something you say all the time. It's like rap. It's like that sort of thing.
If
that
everyone
Louis
was
C-
always coming out and talking about what big assholes their kids were.
Yeah.
Louis C.K. would be defending kids in a funny way. You're right.
Yeah,
It's like
it's that thing. It's that really heinous thought that he shares rarely, that Seth MacFarlane shares all the time. That's not funny because it loses its effect after a while.
it's as though
Crying wolf.
it's as though someone like Louis
exactly.
C.K. looks around and says like, what's not being said?
Yeah.
And why are people not saying it? Oh, that's a good one. And I, not to worship at his feet. I think he's a very strong stand-up comedian who has found a great niche. Louis C.K. is really good at like making those, being that awful friend, saying the thing that you kind of have thought before, and then when you hear him say it, you realize the comic shock of it. Whereas with Seth MacFarlane, you almost feel like he and his writers sit around and would like look at a picture of a puppy and go like, what's offensive about this?
Yeah.
What would be the worst thing we could say about a puppy? But there's no point.
He
to
would
that,
say something
you know?
like, he always says things like this on Family Guy. Man, I wish all the pit bulls were in the left tower on 9/11. Like he says things like that constantly, and it's not funny, man. It's not fun, but it's because people generationally are not used to that sort of bluntness about things. It's like a kid that learns how to curse.
Yeah.
It's like it's cool at first, then you're like, man, he's saying fuck like 10 times. It's not funny anymore. Anyway. Oh, also, how do you feel about the onion thing?
I thought.
Ooh.
What?
Did you
The onion thing.
hear about the onion thing?
So they called the star of Beasts of the Southern Wild a cunt on Twitter that night.
But it was an onion
kid.
tweet but what they were doing was riffing on the sort of harsh way that the media, like actresses get dragged through the mud more so than actors do.
Yeah.
Like what they're wearing, what their choices are, what their personal life is. They just generally, we still live in a pretty chauvinistic society in a lot of ways. The actual tweet was something like, people seem afraid to say this, but we can all agree that Quivanzani Wallace is kind of a cunt, right? It was clearly a onion type barb, but yeah.
That's brutal.
The fact that we've
Yeah,
now
it's
said
pretty-
cunt like
And it-
4
You
times,
said it like
yeah.
5
And
times.
it's weird. Well,
We don't get a chance to
That
say
word
it.
all
is
these
very weird to
weird-
me. I
No, it
can't
is.
say that word.
because he's a little kid, because she's who she is, because the movie subject, it became like a bigger thing.
And he
than-
had a joke that night too that kind of played on her.
Yeah, it
like,
was kind of sexualized. her.
sexualized her, like right, and she's in the front row, right in front of him. It was really weird.
He said something about in 16 years she'll be too old for George Clooney. to
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah.
And George Clooney has never looked more like a mall Santa than he did sitting in front row at the Oscars this year.
I think he's like adapted that, like the way he looked in Syriana. He just embraced it. It worked for him. I don't know. I definitely didn't feel as I was excited about like the actual when we get to this, like the actual winners of the evening. A lot of cool surprises, kind of some things that pissed me off, some things I was really excited about. But I mean, it's just like the hosting duties for me. I'm even more this year than maybe except for Anne Hathaway and James Franco. Like it truly was pure filler. Like I didn't really get much entertainment value after like an hour into it from anything that Seth MacFarlane was doing. You know what I mean? Or even like the people that were giving the awards away. I just feel like the biggest challenge for the Oscars is like what do they do to make it interesting in between the awards? I know that's a very like generic
No,
question.
it's not at all. Because that's what, when I texted you guys, this is bad television.
Yes.
It was like an hour in and I was like bored out of my mind. I was just,
I felt the same way, but I mean, I was with a bunch of friends watching. I had like a little get together in my house, and it's like it's something I look forward to and try to make the best of it because that's what keeps me into it. If I was sitting alone watching it, I'd be like, "Holy shit!" I will just tune in later and find the list of winners.
Right.
I feel like I never had truly felt outside of me being in an environment with people or friends or whatever. I used to go to like Oscar parties at the movie theaters around here. They used to have them. They don't have anymore. where the environment actually kept me much more into it than just watching what's on the TV or what's being presented as a part of it. And the big problem is it's really hard to host the Oscars. I think a big problem with it is the actual content that they're written for, you know, or that they're participating in writing. And obviously he probably had a bigger hand than some other hosts have. But
if he's like other hosts, he probably brought a few writers with him or something. Right. But I think the Oscars also have their writers, so it's like an ad hoc team that gets
exactly, and it shows.
Yeah,
it definitely shows. And I think that like the Oscars the hosts that really stand out to me are like people that I feel are like true entertainers, and not to take anything away from Seth MacFarlane and like what he's accomplished, because he's obviously hit something big.
Yeah.
But like,
and clearly with like the singing, I mean, it's like clearly he also has a passion for that old Hollywood glamour stuff.
And that fits the mold maybe they were going for.
You know what have done a better job? The creators of South Park.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that'd been interesting.
They would have killed.
Yeah, I heard someone say that they when they were watching Seth MacFarlane, they were thinking, "Oh, I wish this was Parker and Stone," and I was like, I never would have even imagined that.
But you know, maybe would have never imagined Seth MacFarlane either.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have.
Yeah,
I don't think if Ted was as big as it was this year, that anybody else would have either. But I was going to say, like, most recently, I think one of the more entertaining hosts that I remember was Hugh Jackman. I thought he did a really cool job. Because it wasn't all just based on the content of what he was delivering. I feel like he has just like a persona, almost like Billy Crystal or even like Steve Martin, like ones that stand out to me. There's something to that person that attracts me as a viewer, regardless, as if they were giving me this Oscar filler.
We'll go back to my childhood, and maybe even you guys, I don't know, it's hard for me to remember what years these were, but when I was a kid, like Johnny Carson. Bob Hope, these guys who were just good at keeping it smooth and keeping the evening going.
Yeah.
And
a true host.
A true host. Like a presenter.
Of the evening.
Almost, yeah.
But I think that the difference is Hugh Jackman's, I've never heard too many people say they didn't like Hugh Jackman. And that's because he just has this universal appeal to him, man. Like, it's just
I think the people that don't like him are people that probably don't like how much other people like him. You know what I mean? Some people react that way. But my thought about him and I didn't see that year, but I thought that sounds perfect because he's like a song and dance man. I mean, he's a little bit of like but he also will like do anything for you. You know what I mean? He's there to entertain you, and I sort of feel like there's something about the guy who's gonna like do it all sort of on stage, and I thought that in that sense, I thought this year was supposed to be like a tribute to the music of the movies. Yeah. That felt really perfunctory and weird. The way it's like a couple, it was like Chicago and Dreamgirls and
the Bond music,
which
is not the musical piece, but I mean, it was a whole tribute to Bond music,
which is bad,
which is really bad.
I thought
given that it was
great.
The 50-year Bond opportunity to tribute it, I thought it was really strange that they brought out Halle Berry, who's like the worst Bond girl in history. The only person lower on the list should have been Denise Richards. But at least we haven't seen her in a while. It might have been a nice surprise.
Out of mind.
Yeah, right. Maybe best left unsaid. But yeah, it was very strange. That just felt sort of like a lot of things you were saying, Steve. Like they got to a part. Oh, they need to do something about Bond since it's 50 years. Yeah. Oh, here they did it. Now move on. It's like there was nothing special about it. It didn't really make an impact.
I mean, the more I look back on it and like watch clips of it online, it gives me time to separate from just being excited that it's the Oscars and really get to like look at. I just didn't really like Seth MacFarlane. I mean, parts of it I was into, like the whole song and dance number at the end. I thought was ridiculously stupid, and it was painfully obvious that neither one of them wanted to be up there doing that. And like everybody was ready to tune out, and they're like, "Come back, we're gonna dance and sing for you."
Oh, Kristen Chenoweth.
Yeah, Kristen Chenoweth. Like
what? The Losers. That was
the Losers song. I mean whatever. Again, I don't.
It's that thing. It's like I think that. Man, I think that they needed so much. I don't know. I have a theory about Family Guy in general, but one of my ideas is that I think that his sense of humor is something that is not necessarily it doesn't feel long lasting. It doesn't feel like something that's going to be in the annals of time. You're not going to be like. I think that his some of his stuff is very, very, very good. But what it really feels like is a Simpsons mutated sort of humor for now. Whatever it is that we do now, we want to see it now, rapid fire, as shitty as possible, attitude-wise, spit in your face, make fun of the person when they leave the room type of humor.
You know what, Ronald? I think that you're getting exactly what we were trying to sort of state a few minutes ago, which is it's like if you're hitting everybody in the room, it's like it shouldn't be a surprise that every now and then one of those jokes lands, you know, and it's kind of funny, but you don't really get credit if all you're doing is every time someone comes into the room, you're throwing a brick at their face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like every now and then someone walks in who deserves it and you go, oh yeah. But like if that's your whole comedy instrument is just to be kind of ugly and again, I like a lot of edgy comedy. I'm not easily offended. And when I watch Family Guy, honestly, I'm not offended as much as I'm just sometimes like, okay, I just can't live in this universe too much. Like, you know, so many shows you either, you know what I mean? You like spending time in that world or you don't. And in Family Guy, I typically don't. Actually, I think American Dad is a little bit funnier just because it's less mean somehow. The characters it's a little sillier, but it still has the same problem of every now and then just reminding you that it's there to shock you, not really to do anything else.
This doesn't have a lot of heart either.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's one thing that
and
I
not to be sappy, but you look for that. Even South Park has a lot of heart.
It has heart. You watch it, and there's some redeeming quality to South Park. Somebody could shit all over the room, but there's a specific reason why they're shitting all over the room. Like it's not just like for exposition and random references to pop culture. Like it's.
Yeah, the joke's not on you if you care about the characters on South Park. Whereas if you care about the characters on Family Guy, you're like totally wasting your time.
How many 9/11 jokes? How many anti-Semitic jokes? How many random I don't know. I'm done talking about that piece of shit.
We already mentioned Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Any other Oscar host wishes?
Oh man, on the spot.
I think Stephen Colbert could probably knock it out of the park.
Man,
because he would be able to do that in character thing of the rude things he was saying.
Yes,
the jokes on him, and I think that gets that whole thing about what the point of view. If you're being offensive, you want to make sure that the point of view of your joke is not the aggressor or the oppressor. You want to make sure it's on the side of the disenfranchised. You know,
sure.
And someone like Stephen Colbert can say awful things because we know that he's poking fun at the guy who would say this type of thing.
Yeah.
With Seth MacFarlane, I don't think we have that kind of
they don't have that
distance.
Not at all. So yeah, I would like to see
Colbert
that.
Colbert would be a good choice, actually. I'd be maybe someday. I don't know. I can't think of anybody on the spot. Like I'm trying to think outside of just actors or in that little world.
They would have to be high profile enough, and I don't think there are too many people that.
How long before they give it to Timberlake?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think he'd be good.
I bet he would because he's funny and he's fast and he can do the song and dance thing.
I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, and I feel like there's so much love for him in the community too. Like
Tina Fey and Amy Poehler have already said no, that they would never.
Really?
I thought they were incredible.
Well, Tina Fey said that she would have to
incredible.
spend a month just trying on dresses, and she doesn't want to do that.
Yeah, they were definitely really good.
They were probably one of my favorite hosts of the last few years. I mean, the Globes were great. I mean, they were really
and every
funny,
little bit of
really
marketing
funny,
they did,
classy,
everything.
All the commercials for it. I mean, that's a great benchmark for them to try to go for.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're jealous as hell that the Globes were better hosted than the Oscars. But c'est la vie.
Yeah.
What about the winners? Let's talk about the winners for a little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'd say like the biggest surprise of the night.
Screenplay. To me.
I think it's paired. I think it's screenplay, supporting actor.
Yeah.
I think those kind of go hand in hand. Ron and I were talking like when Christoph Waltz won for Best Supporting Actor. I feel like the consensus, a lot of people were like going with either Tommy Lee Jones or Robert De Niro. And it almost seemed like Robert De Niro had kind of all the prognosticators online, everything had kind of
because everybody
taken the lead,
has said what we've said.
Yeah,
which is this was De Niro back doing an actual performance.
Totally. And I mean, I can't say that Christoph Waltz, I actually really enjoyed him in.
It's possibly a lead performance though.
Yeah, it's border, and that's what we were talking about. We were saying like it was that weird thing when they were going through the nominations and like all the. You know how all the studios do the for your consideration ads and everything. Like, are they going to push Christoph or are they going to push Leonardo for supporting actor? And they went with Christoph, and it makes the Weinstein Company look like geniuses because he won an Oscar, his second Oscar with Quentin.
Right.
And it's really impressive. I mean, I think
But imagine how great DiCaprio would have looked in that category too. Like,
that's
you know
true.
what I mean? Like he might have walked away with it as well. Who knows?
That's true. That's true as well. I mean,
but everyone that was a murderer's row. Like when they started naming off the people in that category, I couldn't. Like, the only person that I would have been sort of uninterested to see win was Tommy Lee Jones. Just because he's Tommy Lee Jones, but I don't think there was anything wrong with his performance.
Anything?
I think he's won.
He won an Oscar for supporting for Fugitive, yeah.
What?
That's right.
Fugitive.
You're forgetting that when that movie came out, though, his like the current version, when Tommy Lee Jones is in a movie now,
Yeah.
you know what he's going to bring to the table.
Oh, yeah.
That was the performance that crystallized that. I'm going to tell y'all something. The guy who's like coming in and like,
yeah.
And he had that great speech where he's telling everybody to keep looking for him, and he's sending all the guys out. No, I mean, that was like, that was when he went from like a guy who was in movies that I didn't watch when I was a kid to being Tommy Lee Jones in my lifetime.
That cliff scene when he's like talking to him. Did he say like he didn't give a shit if
he's like, I didn't do it. And then he said, I don't care.
Yeah, like you didn't care if he was guilty or not? That was a great movie.
His point was, I'm going to bring you in.
Yeah, I'm going to bring you in. That was a great movie.
Yeah.
That was a great movie.
Well, it was a movie that seemed good to me at the time, but that since then, there have been so few like legitimately good, simple action movies that movie that's one of those that looks better and better in your rear view,
Is that how it's going to be? Like are the current action movies just going to make old action movies look so good? Cuz it's just like I don't know what's happening generationally, but I think that sometimes the shallow doesn't know how to be shallow quite as well.
Whatever it is, they're not doing it. I think a lot of times modern movies are trying too hard to like blow you away and like figure out what that scene's going to be and what that visual is going to be and what that line's going to be, and the story's not always there. And I think the ones that are really good, like Die Hard or The Fugitive or something, what you don't really think about when you're watching it is just that the story's good.
It's like
now we're on a tangent about action movies.
That crazy like buzzwords and cool phrases. Like that's what they live for. It's like that scene where somebody's like, I'm gonna kick your ass all the way. Like it's that thing where they need that line. If they get a couple of those in the trailer,
I'm gonna kick your ass both cheeks.
Yes, they need those lines that are like super memorable. It doesn't matter, and then you see all those in the trailer, and then you realize that there's nothing to the movie besides those cool lines. That's terrible.
After he says both cheeks, I'm leaving.
I'm done.
I'm out.
Is it best line in the movie?
That's the peak.
Yeah.
So, were you disappointed in any of the winners, or?
It's hard to say. I mean, because it's hard to say I'm disappointed. I mean, I don't think there were really any winners in any of the category. Oh, best animated feature.
Yeah. What the hell?
I liked Brave, but even I turned when they were naming all the movies. I turned to Nikki and I said, "It's got to be Wreck-It Ralph, right?" I mean, I just couldn't. There was not a better. There weren't that many, even though it wasn't on any of our top 10s, I don't think. But there weren't that many movies that were more entertaining and like perfectly formed this year. To me, it felt like Wreck-It Ralph was the Pixar movie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Totally. Oh my God, that's what we were saying. Like it seems like they went to the Brave Award because it's Pixar. Mm-hmm. I honestly think that's the worst film of all 5 of those movies.
I wouldn't go that far. But I would say between Brave and Wreck-It Ralph, which were the two frontrunners in my mind, I still thought Wreck-It Ralph was just better. It was tighter, had more of a reason to be.
I think Wreck-It Ralph absolutely should have won, but I mean, I really enjoyed the closest thing. I mean, that Brave would probably swap with is the Pirates movie, but I mean, I even found that really funny.
No, I liked all of them.
I thought it was really good.
I liked all.
I
of
don't know,
them.
something about Brave. I mean, not to go back to it, just didn't feel right to me. Like something just felt off. Like they didn't know what they were what they wanted to commit to making.
You're definitely not alone in that assessment. You know, like I
can't get over that. I mean, and just I don't know. Seeing that movie win was kind of odd for me. That's probably the one shock of the evening that I had. I mean, most of the acting categories, for the most part, kind of played out as expected. The original screenplay was I guess we talked about before, was kind of surprising.
Yeah.
With Django. It was kind of cool to see Quentin Tarantino up there, accepting it. And actually a pretty good speech. I mean, I thought as weird and crazy as he is, very directed at acknowledging talent and the people that he works with, which is what, I feel like everybody says, but something just came out of him that kind of hit me. Like he really is like giving them a moment over top of himself sometimes.
Yeah.
Which is cool because he's usually like me. But it was like, it felt genuine to hear him talk about those people.
I mean, this is, man, regardless of how people feel about him as a whole, this is, you're going to think about his top movies, going to be like, well, have you seen Kill Bill? Well, have you seen Pulp Fiction? Well, have you seen Django Unchained? Those are going to be the movies that people are going to hit on, like the movies that he's going to be really well known for. And I think the Reservoir Dogs is going to be like, that one that sneaks up on you, which I think is I don't know if it's the best movie ever, but a lot of people feel like it's a great movie.
Well, I think you cannot discount going from zero to suddenly you have a Quentin Tarantino movie. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like whatever comes after Reservoir Dogs is sort of like in the path that was paved by that. But, I think it's tough to say. I mean, I think he's had his ups and downs. I thought Django Unchained was a really interesting, really exciting movie for various reasons. So I was glad to see it recognized in a few categories. I do think it's a little like Christoph Waltz being honored, like basically, in a row for two very similar characters in Tarantino films was
just
a
polar
little,
opposites.
That was the only
sort of
reason. That sort of deja vu aspect was the only reason why I thought, oh, it would have been nice to see someone else win this. But otherwise, like when they just were listing the names and showing a little quick second of the character, I was like, oh, I'd be happy. I couldn't believe I was trying to write down who I wished would win in all the categories, and that one I was like, well, I started to write down every name as it came up. It's like everybody was doing really good work. So
it's that thing though. Like he just acts circles around a lot of people. I think that's what it is. Like he could do the same role every year and act circles around most of the people that act.
We first felt that way about Samuel L. Jackson in Tarantino films. Like for a couple of, there were a couple of movies where he was like, oh, Samuel L. Jackson is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's really like, well, he's really awesome when he's in a Tarantino movie.
Right.
Otherwise, Samuel L. Jackson can be kind of stiff, or it's just not the same. Not Jules. Not.
I think Samuel L. Jackson plays a numbers game. I think.
Oh, I definitely think
his legacy.
He's going for a Guinness.
I think
absolutely.
He'll be in anything at this point, and that's weird because it doesn't affect his high profile movies. Like it doesn't affect them. Like he could be in a shitty movie and then do Star Wars.
Oh, he can be in a shitty movie.
He could be in a shitty movie and then do like it's weird.
Green Hornet.
It's so weird. Like
Christoph Waltz is in
fluctuate.
Green Hornet,
Yeah,
I thought we were talking about him.
Oh no, we're talking about
It's Sam Jackson.
But Christoph Waltz, I do think it's interesting to note that he's had a couple
real
of
bad
like
movie.
that. No, people aren't talking about Green Hornet at all. Really,
Yeah.
people don't really mention that because they don't feel like he had much to do with.
He's a
that,
great
but-
villain though in it.
Yeah.
He's a great villain in
See, I
it.
didn't see Green Hornet, but
I like Green Hornet better than Green
Lance.
Lantern.
Oh,
well, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
No
like,
one's
that's not much of a
that movie was
measuring
a turd,
yardstick.
a certified turd,
All right, what else?
a turdified.
a turd.
Ang Lee,
Turdified.
Life of Pi, Best Director.
Man, hold on. Can we let's talk about Life of Pi. Man, I haven't seen Life of Pi,
I saw it
and I'm
since
gonna.
we spoke.
And I don't think I'm telling you, man. Unless this thing is solid gold, unless this thing has a special guest appearance by Jesus Christ himself, I don't know if this movie is gonna.
It kind of does.
It does.
I don't know if this.
You got the check mark there.
I don't know if this movie.
Are
is
you
gonna,
allowing for the fact that Jesus Christ could kind of be like a tiger?
I don't know if it's gonna win me over, man. Like
What do you think of it, John?
I thought it was. I mean, I'm good. Every now and then a movie makes you want to use words you don't use, like magical.
I agree. I told
But
him that.
I thought it was
Sunday
magical. I thought it was like transcendent in a lot. I mean, and that does not mean I necessarily agree with all of the philosophical conclusions that the movie seems to draw. But I thought that it was like a really beautiful piece of storytelling. Some of the most we talked about, like I really wish I'd seen it on the big screen. I really wish I'd seen it because this was the only movie I've ever heard anyone say see it in 3D, and I didn't go see it in 3D. And watching it, I was like, I bet this would have been even more dreamlike and evocative in 3D. No, it's like I found myself kind of wanting. I mean, it was a little bit at the end. It's kind of one of those like whoa kind of movies, like you just let it kind of hit you. And again, whether you think about it, what it kind of posits in its final moments is like a question or a problem that you can sort of interpret a few different ways. And I don't know that I totally agree with this sort of the point the movie's making, but it's a really interesting point and it's really beautifully done. And that actor, what's his name? Ifran Khan
Okay, for Khan, yeah.
who's playing the older version of the lead character in the story. The main body of the story is him remembering a story from his youth.
Mm-hmm.
And so we see him telling the story. In the kind of framing device at the beginning and end of the movie. And normally those pieces in movies are so dull and don't need to be there. Like when you start off with a person telling the story and then you come back to them telling the story. But his performance was so mesmerizing. I could watch him sit there and talk about, he could read recipes to me or something like that. And it would be captivating.
I just need to see it.
And it was just visually, it was so crisp and well photographed. And it was just everything that you might think you might be rolling your eyes about when you see the trailer. It's like I found myself like leaning in and getting more and more into it. And that whole middle stretch of the movie, it's not quite Castaway, but it's that kind of thing where you really do spend about an hour on the boat I don't know what you call that when you. What you doing, Ronald? He wants to. Ronald wants to introduce all of the Apple sound effects and chimes into the podcast. But yeah, no, I thought so. To me, it was after seeing it when that I was like, okay, I knew we'd be recording this, and I wanted to. I mean, I almost wish I'd seen it before the Oscars, so I could have rooted for it a little bit more because it was kind of in my blind spot. But I don't know if it's that much better than all the other movies, but I think all those movies that were in that top 9 really all deserve to be there for some. I mean, I haven't seen Les Mis, but and I haven't seen Amour, but all the ones I've seen deserve to be there for some reason or another. So
I thought Life of Pi is like the example of a movie where I'd heard enough to pique my interest. Now you've seen it now, Ronald. It may fall victim to some of that hype, but I mean, I saw it at the right time, and it affected me the same way as John. And I think, when you're talking about like cinematography, visual effects, even the score, which are some of the more technical categories that it took home Academy Awards for. I mean, I picked them in in all 3 of those categories. I mean, I don't know that I even expected a movie like this from Ang Lee, which is something about him that I think is so unique. Is that, and I think which is part of also why he won Best Director, is that like he is so unpredictable in the content. In the way, I mean, you always kind of know you're going to have a visually stunning film, with a lot of his movies, or for the most part, most of his movies. But like the story, the narrative, like that is what really anchors his films. And then it's just dressed up with this beauty around it, which is this beautiful score, these amazing visual effects that I absolutely regret not seeing in 3D on the screen, like you said, John.
And great, really good acting.
And great acting, yeah. I mean, and then from people that most people don't know. I mean, that's what surprises you as well. You don't have any of the dressing of like the big names on the posters or anything. You just have this striking image of this tiger or the boy on the boat with the tiger. And you're like, what is this movie? Yeah. And so many people haven't seen it. And I think, it's going to definitely kind of have a little more holdover, because it won the awards. But I mean, I was really impressed with Life of Pi, and I was really happy to see. I mean, I thought Steven Spielberg was going to win, and I'm a huge Spielberg fan, but I'm totally fine with Ang Lee taking home Best Director. Because I mean, in perspective, when I think about all that and just that surprise and many, many elements of an experience of watching a movie, I mean, I don't know that many other films this year kind of took me like that, where I didn't have an expectation. Maybe Silver Linings, and I don't know, just something about that. I feel like a movie that was like that a few years ago for me was like Slumdog Millionaire. Yeah, it kind of had I kind of had the same experience where like I was like, I know I'm probably gonna like be impressed by this movie. But like the story and then the message, quote unquote, like whether or not you agree with what it's saying, it's just laid out so well that you can't resist being taken away by it.
Even within the movie, it's still posed as kind of a question.
It's absolutely, which is nice because it's not like too heavy-handed, and it's just like there for you to experience and to take in, and you make your own, I don't know, you make your own decisions after the fact. But I was really stoked to see Life of Pi take home. I mean, what, 4 awards? 4 or 5?
I like movies. I like movies that take on.
See it, man.
Like we've talked in this room about how much we love I Heart Huckabees before. Right. How much we I Heart Huckabees. One of the things I like about that movie is that it kind of dares to play around with philosophy and those types of ideological ideas about how you live your life and how you go. This movie takes on that idea of like spirituality versus worldliness, but in a very like a story that sort of illustrates these things. And normally a story that does that sounds like you're dealing with symbols and not characters, and it could get kind of drab and boring. But it's such a great illustration. It really does feel like a parable, like a story that would be handed down. And what happens on that boat is so captivating. It's kind of funny. The commercials for the movie do show the tiger and do show the boy in the boat. So Henry's seen a lot of the commercials and said that, but one with the boy and the tiger, I want to see that. So I was watching that and I saw it was PG, and I was like, I'm pretty good at like shielding his eyes and getting him out of the room if something goes too far. And it never quite went too far. Like he was more. I think when I was a little bit freaked out and afraid, he would be a little freaked out and afraid. And he kept asking me questions like, why is he still sad? Like, this is Henry's mind. If somebody's sad, like if somebody's crying because a character has just died or something, and then in the next shot they're still crying, he says, why is he still sad? And I'm like, well, Henry, he's still sad about the sad thing. But so today he asked him, so what do you think of that movie? And he said, it sure is hard to get to be friends with a tiger.
I love that.
And I think that actually is a pretty good sum up of the movie. But I mean, it's that kind of thing where you get so wrapped up in it, and I could totally see this being a classic. You know, I mean, I could see this just being a movie that ages really well because everything about it. The only thing I will say, the CGI is you do have a computer generated tiger for much of the movie. It works really amazingly well most of the time. The only time that it gets a little dodgy is when there's a little interaction between him and the tiger, and he's actually petting it, and you can kind of see that shadow underneath his hand on the fur doesn't quite work. But in almost every other aspect, I thought that creature was right up there with like Gollum or other characters like that you see that are created on a computer that you just go, okay, I believe. The whole thing kind of takes place in a slightly heightened reality. So every now and then this sort of fakey effects, the movie kind of excuses it because it feels a little bit like it's happening in the guy's mind just a little bit. So,
all right.
Yeah. But so, yeah, no,
It's such a beautiful film.
Yeah.
I need to check it out.
There's some images that just are burned into my brain forever
God.
now.
Yeah, like all the like the sea creatures with the lights in the, oh man, just amazing. I know when you saw that, like the clip when we were watching the Oscars,
Yeah.
you were like, what was that? Like that's the fucking like whale jumping out. Like this is what this movie is. It looks amazing. But yeah, man, I was happy to see that. I think you'd really still enjoy it.
Cool.
I think one of the biggest takeaways for me for the evening was giving acknowledgement to Argo. I think that the whole controversy about Ben being snubbed for Best Director. I think the weeks leading into it, I don't think there was a lot of question of what film was going to take home the Best Picture prize. I think there was maybe a couple films, but that were in the possibility of an upset. But Argo, with most of the other critic circles, other critics associations, the BAFTAs, SAG, everything was kind of all hankered towards Argo. And it was so odd that it didn't get a Best, Director nomination, and everybody was bitching about it. But at the end of the day, it won, Best Adapted Screenplay, and it won Best Picture. I think it just is it's very odd. I think that, the director wasn't even nominated, let alone didn't win. I don't know how often that's happened in the history of the Academy Awards. Mm-hmm. Very, very infrequently, I'd be willing to bet. But I think it was really cool to give him the acknowledgement. I think, Grant Heslov going up there and talking about how, he was going to accept this as a producer, but Ben's also a producer, and he's going to let him talk. I think it was really cool that he talked a little more. And definitely you could tell, kind of address some things that he may have been able to say had he been nominated and won as a director. I don't know that he would have won, but I don't know. I just was really happy to see Argo acknowledged. Is one of my favorite films of the year. And also, I think it was really important for, I guess, a guy like Ben Affleck. I've always really liked Ben Affleck. I really have loved all of his films that he's put out. As a director, I mean, there's, as an actor, there's definitely some throwaways, but I think it's really
Daredevil.
I think it's really nice that he even acknowledged in his speech that I was pretty much screwed and I was out of this and people just gave me a chance and another chance for no reason. I didn't have anything to offer them except for just what I was wanting to put out in terms of a film. Mm. That meant a lot to see that. I don't know. I thought that was really cool. I mean, I think he's a genuine dude and I really like him as a person and it just feels like it's kind of a changing of I don't know, I don't know what the right word is, but it's a moment that people will say, okay, Argo won, and people legitimately take him for serious now. He's not just like Ben Affleck that was in Good Will Hunting and that then made Daredevil and whatever else movies sucked. This is the guy. I think Ben Affleck will eventually become the director Ben Affleck. That's what he will be. You know what I mean? He won a screenwriting award when he was in his 20s with Matt Damon, but he's better known for his directorial features. And that's cool. I hope that's what it becomes, because I think he's got a lot to say as a director. And, whether he stars in all of his movies, I don't know, but
I surely hope not. I surely hope not.
I mean, whatever.
I don't think he's...
I sort of... I never really had feelings about him until he kind of became a punching bag, and then I sort of became a little bit more of a fan of his, because I was thinking he's compared to other... I didn't understand why everyone was piling on him so much,
right? No,
and I think maybe the whole J-Lo thing. It was just that didn't seem like it really had as much to do with him as it was just kind of her publicity machine, and then Geely was, a misfire. Let's just put it that way. And then he actually did a movie called Paycheck, things like that just didn't look good. So I agree with you that the directing career has sort of does seem like that's a much more safe place for him to be in, because whatever it is that some people find off-putting or stiff or kind of lacking in his acting, and I sometimes do think his kind of limited range can kind of hurt. Like I thought it hurt Argo a little bit. But no, I'm with you, Steve. In general, like I don't have anything against Ben Affleck, and if this kind of cements his, I'm going to be the actor who directs now, or just eventually the director. How long before he directs Matt Damon in something? That seems like the
interesting.
That's the road they're going down.
But
Matt Damon's been in this point where he's been like supposed to be directing certain films. Like he was supposed to direct that film Promised Land that came out this year, but was unable to. I think Gus Van Sant did it, right? But I don't know. Like he's kind of now going into that directorial path, and I don't know, see what happens with that. But go Ben.
Here's the other thing, and this is one thing I'll say about that not being nominated for Best Director thing. Neither was Quentin Tarantino. Neither was Catherine Bigelow. So it's almost like the only thing I felt like there was a little bit of a pity party for Ben Affleck over that when no one else. When a couple of months ago the story would have been about Catherine Bigelow. I just thought that was a little strange that he got to kind of milk that so much. But I think based on the nature of his sort of like the fact that this really. Based on what it represents to his career, more so than to their careers, as far as a legitimizing move. I can see why people were sort of noticing that more, because Argo does seem like kind of the ultimate crowd-pleasing entertainment.
Sure,
if you look at that list, it might be the one that fits that bill the most. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that also what went into that whole point was that when leading up to and following, like it's kind of like when he was like the predominant acknowledged in terms of directing, you know what I mean, like winning awards and doing all this stuff, and then to be left off was kind of odd. I mean, that's kind of what I was getting at. I know what you mean. I agree with you. I mean, and the Catherine Bigelow's piece, I was saying like the other day, it's so what's odd is that like the victim of the whole award season was Zero Dark 30.
Yeah,
absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that was weird.
Nothing, and sort of sinks like a stone now. We talked a little bit about this effect before, but that once the Oscars happen, it's sort of like the tide kind of carries some of them forward, and then the other ones are just
it's so weird. I mean, like that was the movie in like November. I was like, this is it, man. This is going to be the film. Everyone's talking like they're going to sweep everything. It's got all the categories covered, and nothing at all.
It became too much of a hot potato or something. You think
it did? Yeah. I mean, like all the I don't know what it was, but that's the victim of the Oscars this year for sure. Is even among other films that didn't
not
win.
My opinion of Paul Rudd and Melissa McCarthy, who bombed utterly in their whatever that was, and then which by the way, the fact that he was standing like 6 feet away from the mic, and it was wasn't it for sound editing? Sound mixing, yeah, utterly. I mean, if that was meta, that was clever, but I don't think it was meta. And then the Avengers guys getting out there, was there a script? Was the teleprompter moving too fast? Was weird. Samuel L. not on his meds? What was going on with that? But I mean, I hate when someone's presenting an award that lowers my opinion of them. But just about everybody that presented this year, I came away from it going ugh about them.
Oh, especially Crazy Face.
His crazy face.
What's her name? Puckered lips. Renee Zellweger.
Oh god.
What the hell was that, man? She looked so crazy.
I have no comment on her.
But yeah, I mean, all in all,
part of the whole awkward.
It was so weird. Piece. Like she could barely keep her eyes open. I don't know. Overall, I thought it was really good to see some of the people come out on top, and I think that I'm not going to say much about Matt Damon. I mean, Ben Affleck, except this. I think when people have
not going to say
dreams,
anything about Matt Damon,
right? When people have dreams, people have ambitions to do something of some importance besides being an actor. I don't think it gets taken very seriously. A lot of the times it doesn't get taken very seriously. So to see somebody come into the game, I mean, like I don't like all of his stuff. Like I don't. I liked Argo though, and I liked the last movie that he did,
The Town,
the heist starring Ben Affleck,
Mr. Affleck's Neighborhood.
Ben Affleck wins every time. That should have been the name of the movie, but it was still a fucking amazing movie. So I think that there has to be a change period where the older directors, and I love Spielberg. I love all the older directors, where they're gonna have to shut the fuck up, stop making these fucking movies, and let some of the younger people do it. Some of the people like the Ben Afflecks, the Jon Favreaus, But the people that kind of
Well, hasn't that been the line about the Oscars forever though? Is that it's sort of everyone's old,
Yeah.
so it's like they're gonna respond, like,
But it's-
which is not to say anything to take anything away from Lincoln.
Yeah, Spielberg has been dominating for a very long time.
He actually has not been very strong in terms of Oscars.
Well,
That's it.
I-
He
I-
dominates the acknowledgement,
he
in the,
dominates
in
acknowledgement.
the
I think that's what it
conversation.
is.
Like Daniel Day-Lewis was the first actor to ever win an Academy Award for acting in a Spielberg film.
Wow.
Yeah.
But still,
That tells you more about the kind of movies he makes. though.
Spielberg-
They're not the type that usually
Yeah.
focus on like performance in that way.
It just is it's a very powerful name. I just think he should. I don't know. I don't want to see
Step
any
down. What were you going to say?
I don't want to see any more Spielberg movies, man. That's what I'm saying. I'm done with them.
I say nay to that.
I think that stop for a little bit.
I think that the bigger problem is
I did like Lincoln though. Lincoln
I
was
think
one
the
of my
bigger
favorite
problem
movies.
is, which is strange that you then said that, but it's if I do think the problem is the stodginess you're talking about exists, but I don't think it has anything to do with individual directors so much as it is that however these movies are selected and however
Exactly.
whoever's voting on them is and liking Argo or not liking Argo, you still have to see it as a kind of safe choice, given that the other options might have been giving it to Tarantino for a really controversial film, or giving it to Catherine Bigelow for a really controversial film. So in that sense, I
Or
think
giving it to Silver Linings
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
Silver
perfection.
Linings.
which once again proving that uplifting comedies don't.
They don't win.
They don't
Jennifer,
win.
that was
Well,
it.
Yeah, we which I think we weren't the only ones to call that, but she
Yeah.
did seem like the only one, maybe De Niro, that had like a shot
Yep.
at that.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, man. Overall,
It's okay.
I enjoyed
It's
it.
still a
Yeah.
good movie.
no,
Yeah.
I mean it's like all of those movies were pretty good. So
Yeah.
in that sense, it's nice to if all you're sort of hoping for is to see a little recognition for some good work, I think that it was a good year. But it's so funny that the story has 90% of the ink spilled on this has been about the host.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what a lot of it is, like every year. Overall, an interesting night. I mean, I feel
Ronald
like
just sent me a secret message.
Oh God.
You may as well let people in. May as well
I
let
have to
people know.
urinate so badly, and I feel terrible, man. 'cause
we're
I-
almost done. Can you hold it?
No, I can't. I've been holding it for like 20 minutes or so. I'm gonna go-
Nice.
Well, do you want to just go pee, Ronald?
Just go. Okay.
Leave the door open so we can get the sound effects from.
These mics are pretty strong.
Yeah.
Pick it up.
So how's it going, Steve?
It's going, John.
Going good.
Starving. Banana didn't last long.
Did not last long. No.
Haven't eaten since 12 o'clock.
Oh, that's dumb.
It is very stupid.
I noticed you posted something on your Facebook about what's the movie that's coming out with Lily Taylor and Ron
Conjuring?
Livingston? Conjuring. It's a trailer. We spoke about this, how every horror movie does that part well. Someone walking around the house to investigate a noise. So that could be the one really good part of the movie.
Right.
But the one thing I thought was worth mentioning on the show is just that approach to making a trailer. I really liked it so much because it didn't, it basically plays out one kind of scene and one kind of thread rather than trying
All
to.
these quick cuts of scares and jumps.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about that trailer, from what I've read about the film, is that that's not even really the film. Like the main actors in the film are Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, that are based on these real paranormal investigators. That it's a real true story.
Yeah, well, based on a true story appears to be something that gets put on every horror
Right.
film
Well,
now.
I mean, there's a museum
Yeah.
in these people's name in Connecticut where you can go look at all their findings. So there
Yeah.
is a story to them,
Yeah.
at least. But I think it's cool that the trailer doesn't even show you them.
Did you see it? The Conjuring.
No.
Trailer? It's definitely
Really
worth
cool.
seeing.
Very creepy clapping, and I don't know. Just
I've been
stay away
obsessing
from the
about the
closet.
Stoker. I've been obsessing about that movie. I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna try to see
Comes
it.
out today, right?
Yeah, it's,
yeah.
it's
Down
only
theater.
showing in DC, so I'm gonna probably go see it in the next couple of days.
You guys both seen the trailer for Trance?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it looks slick.
It looks really good.
Looks really cool.
I mean, it looks like Danny Boyle doing Danny Boyle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I don't know, man. Just some good stuff coming up.
So, but Ronald, yeah, you
Random
definitely need to see
scramblings.
Life of Pi, and then once you've seen it, we can all get together and talk about how much it would have sucked if M. Night Shyamalan had actually directed.
He was supposed to.
He was attached.
He was
for
the
a while.
tiger.
He was attached for a while, and I just at the time I was like, oh, okay. I didn't have any association with the book,
Right.
But
think
then, but when I was watching it, there were so many moments where I was just thinking, like, oh God, this would have sucked.
It's a sign.
I think he's gonna redeem himself with that movie with Will Smith.
Why?
Because man, I don't know.
What is it called?
It's a good vibe to it.
Life after life or after Earth?
After Earth.
After Earth.
Mm.
No.
It's
I'm more excited for
It looks like Oblivion.
I'm more excited for Oblivion.
I think-
Why? Because it's Tom Cruise.
Because his name
Morgan
is Jack
Freeman.
Harper.
And also, I think visually, the guy that did the Tron
He should
sequel,
definitely
I don't remember his name, but I was pretty
It
impressed.
is. I think that is the character's name.
Really?
It's either Jack or John Harper. Because I just remember on the trailer, it was like, that's such a boring detail. Why would you waste trailer space letting us know that his name is Jack Harper? You know?
Because it's Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All kinds of conversation tonight.
Yeah.
All over the place.
All over the place.
So it really feels like we're
Nice
saying
little powwow.
we're saying goodbye to yesterday now. This was
Oh,
the Oscars. That was the last big hurrah.
We got to get our act together and get our Schmovie awards together.
I know.
Yeah. We will.
That was supposed to happen. We got to get this train rolling.
But this episode would have been way too long if we were trying to do that.
Now, this makes
the
sense
Oscars.
to have
Yeah.
we kind of get together, think about what the Oscars did right and wrong, so that we can do everything right for hours.
What I'm doing is I'm scrapping all of the really long misogynist musical sequences.
Nice, nice.
And we are a highbrow kind of podcast, right?
Keep it real.
That's what we strive for.
Well,
Ronald, you brought this one in with a lot of grace. Take us out.
I'm just really glad that we get together and do this, man.
Yeah.
This is really the soap on my balls. You know, it is the.
No, I'm going to think about that. It's what keeps you fresh.
Yeah. You don't want to walk around with fucking stinking.
Maybe I shouldn't have let Ronald take us
And
out.
then nobody
Big
wants
mistake,
to,
John.
Nobody wants
Big
to deal
mistake.
with you
Note
at that point, right?
I will learn from that mistake. Do not let that happen
Zombie-
again.
Case of zombie dong. You don't want that, right? All beat up and ashy.
We got to make sure we put that in our keywords for publishing this episode.
Yeah, zombie dog.
Zombie dong.
It's like the new thing. Hashtag. It's gonna be huge, Ronald.
It's gonna take off, man.
Dong of the dead.
Like
Oh,
the Harlem
man.
Shake. I hate those videos, by the way. Harlem Shake.
Harlem Shake.
Terrible videos.
All right.
Thank
Now
you.
we're like those people that got swept up in a storm and just sat down in a tree like 100 miles from where they started off. We don't know how we got here. We just know it's time to say goodnight.
with a dog there.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for listening,
for listening.
And putting up with this.
Yeah.
This is a very casual outro to our episode. Hit up the schmovie.net, which we haven't been updating, so it probably looks the same as it did last week.
We'll have
If
more.
you're a fan of going to websites and watching tumbleweeds blow by,
If you like static websites that don't change, totally the one to go
We
to.
need
It's
to
like
get
the
back
spot.
into it. Post
It's the
those.
spot. Movieschmovie@gmail.com.
we have
and
live.
Facebook.
We have live. Nobody's asking us to do this.
Yeah, this is just for fun. We thought we were gonna make a website, and
Yeah.
it's there.
It's a hub, though. It is
It's a hub.
It is a hub.
It is a hub. They call that hub.
Mhm.
But yeah, Facebook.com/movieschmovie. You can go there too. If you don't want to go through iTunes, you can link everything through Facebook. That's kind of cool too. Facebook's pretty big right now.
It is, man.
It's getting bigger by the day. You can make free phone calls through the Facebook app now.
I know, man.
Yeah,
it's
and
so
video
weird.
eventually. It's pretty
So
crazy.
Weird. So weird.
We should try it one time.
For shit.
Well, as always, folks, you've helped us limp to the end of another day.
And you also have made our day.
Oh, you made that day.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
You made it as we limped to the end of it.
I forgot what we say.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye. Zombie dog.